Good evening, fearless listeners, and welcome to another spine-tingling episode of Paranormal Nightshift. I'm your host, Gideon, to guide you through the murky depths of the unexplained, the eerie whispers of the night, and the downright hair-raising tales defying logic and reason. As the world around us settles into the quiet embrace of darkness, a realm awakens. A place where shadows dance with secrets and the unknown lurks just beyond the veil of our everyday lives. We delve deeper into that mysterious space tonight, where reality blurs and the supernatural takes center stage. But before we immerse ourselves in tonight's chilling narrative, I want to extend a special invitation to all our dedicated listeners. At paranormalnightshift.com, you can claim your free copy of The Birth of Dimensional Desperado, the inaugural ebook in our thrilling Dimensional Desperado series. Follow Buck Shadow Sheriff Freeman as he embarks on time-traveling paranormal adventures that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to dive into a world where the past and present collide in the most unexpected ways. Now, let's turn our attention back to the shadows. Tonight's tale, Echoes of Ridge Church, comes to us from one of our courageous listeners, Cynthia. Their story is a testament to the thin line between the known and the unknown, a journey that will pull you into the very heart of the mysterious and the unexplained. So, dim your lights, grab a blanket, and prepare yourself. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows across the quaint town of Lowndesville, South Carolina. It was September 5th, 2021, a date that would forever be etched into my memory. Dave and I had always been fascinated by abandoned places and their hidden histories, so when we heard about Ridge Church, established in 1839, we knew we had to explore it. Ridge Church stood solemnly at the edge of town, its once grand facade now weathered by time and neglect. The church had a storied past that whispered tales of tragedy and resilience. A devastating fire swept through Lowndesville not long after its establishment, reducing much of the town to ashes. Ridge Church, miraculously spared, became the final resting place for many of the town's residents who perished in the blaze. Over the years, the cemetery surrounding the church became a somber testament to those lost souls, many interred in unmarked graves that blended seamlessly with the overgrown landscape. Despite its dark history, Ridge Church remained active for several decades, serving as a beacon of hope and community. However, in recent years, a sinister change has taken root. A cult, shrouded in mystery, purchased the property and began conducting disturbing and blasphemous rituals on the grounds. The once peaceful church had transformed into a place of malevolent energy, its presence felt even by the most skeptical visitors. On that fateful September evening, Dave and I decided to visit Ridge Church, driven by curiosity and the thrill of uncovering its secrets. The sky was overcast, and heavy clouds threatened to unleash a storm at any moment. As we approached the church, the air grew thick with tension, and the silence was only broken by the distant hoot of an owl and the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. We entered the church through the creaky wooden doors, which groaned in protest as if warning us to turn back. The interior was dimly lit by the fading daylight filtering through the stained glass windows, casting fragmented patterns of color onto the pews. The air smelled of damp wood and decaying vegetation, a stark reminder of the years of neglect. As we walked down the aisle, the weight of history pressed down on us. The pews, though old, were meticulously arranged, their dark wood polished by decades of use. I couldn't help but feel a sense of reverence mixed with unease as we explored the sacred space. Dave pointed out the altar, its once majestic presence now marred by cracks and grime. "Imagine the stories these walls could tell," Dave whispered, his voice echoing softly in the vast emptiness. I nodded, feeling a shiver run down my spine. It's hard to believe so much history is concentrated in one place. We made our way to the back of the church, where the bell tower loomed ominously. The structure seemed to pierce the sky, its height making me uneasy. As we circled the building, an inexplicable sensation washed over me. We felt like we were being watched. Every creak of the floorboards and every rustle of leaves outside amplified our anxiety. "Do you feel that?" I asked Dave, my voice barely above a whisper. He glanced around, eyes darting from one shadow to another. "Yeah, it's like someone's watching us." We scanned our surroundings, looking for any sign of movement. The cemetery behind the church was shrouded in darkness, and the gravestones were obscured by overgrown foliage. Our flashlights cut through the gloom, illuminating the path, but revealing nothing unusual. Just as we were about to dismiss our feelings as paranoia, I glanced at the bell tower. There, perched high above us, stood a figure, or something that resembled a figure. It was impossible to discern details from such a distance, but the mere presence was enough to send chills down my spine. "Dave, did you see that?" I asked, pointing upwards. He followed my gaze, eyes widening in disbelief. "Yeah, I saw something up there. Should we get a picture?" We raised our phones and tried to capture the mysterious presence, but all we managed to capture was a blur, an indistinct shadow that seemed to shift and move just out of focus. Unsettled, we decided it was time to leave. As we exited the church, the heavy doors swung shut behind us with a force that seemed almost aggressive. We exchanged uneasy glances, the experience leaving us both rattled and intrigued. A few weeks later, the curiosity that had initially driven us to Ridge Church gnawed at us relentlessly. The unsettling presence we encountered lingered in our minds, urging us to return and uncover more of the church's dark secrets. This time, we planned our visit for nightfall, hoping to capture more concrete evidence of the supernatural. We arrived at Ridge Church under a moonless sky, the darkness enveloping us as we approached the imposing structure. The air was colder than before, the silence more profound, broken only by the distant sounds of nocturnal creatures stirring. Armed with flashlights, cameras, and a deep determination, we stepped inside again. The church looked different under the cover of night, the shadows playing tricks on our eyes. The pews seemed to stretch endlessly, the darkness between them swallowing our light. We ventured deeper into the sanctuary, our footsteps echoing ominously. "Everything looks the same, but I feel like there's something different tonight," Dave remarked, his voice betraying his unease. I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. "Let's head towards the bell tower again. Maybe we'll catch something." As we approached the bell tower, the temperature seemed to drop dramatically. My breath became visible in the frigid air, and each inhale filled me with dread. We reached the tower's base, and the door was slightly ajar, inviting us into its darkened interior. I pushed the door open, the hinges squealing in protest. The inside of the tower was shrouded in darkness, the only light emanating from our flashlights. As we ascended the narrow staircase, the steps creaked under our weight, each amplifying the tension within me. We were met with an unsettling sight when we reached the top of the bell tower. A large, gnarled tree stood beside the tower, its branches sprawling out like skeletal fingers against the night sky. Perched atop one of the highest branches was a figure barely discernible in the darkness. It seemed to watch us with an intensity that made my skin crawl. "Dave, look at that," I whispered, pointing towards the tree. He followed my gaze, his eyes narrowing as he tried to make sense of the shape. "Is that something?" Before we could react, the figure began to move. It leaped from one branch to the next with unnatural agility, its form shifting and twisting into a ball of mass as it propelled itself through the trees. The sight was mesmerizing and horrifying, a dance of shadows and movement that defied explanation. Suddenly the figure began crawling face down the tree trunk at an alarming speed, moving directly towards us with a purpose that sent my heart racing. My mind struggled to comprehend what we were witnessing, a humanoid being unlike anything I'd ever seen. "Run, Dave!" I shouted, adrenaline surging through my veins. We turned and sprinted down the stairs, our footsteps echoing through the empty church. The entity continued its relentless approach, its presence growing more menacing with each passing second. Panic overtook reason as we fled the church, the doors slamming shut behind us as if slammed by an invisible hand. We reached our car, breathless and terrified. The image of the crawling figure burned into our minds. Without looking back, we sped away from Ridge Church, the night swallowing us as we put as much distance between us and the sinister building as possible. Days later, still haunted by our experiences, Dave and I sought answers. We contacted the current owner of Ridge Church, an elderly man named Mr. Thompson, who had recently purchased the property from the mysterious cult that had plagued the church grounds. Mr. Thompson welcomed us into his home, a modest house nestled on the outskirts of town. His weathered face carried the weight of countless stories, and his eyes held a sorrow that spoke of long-held secrets. "Please, come in," he said, motioning us to sit. "I know why you're here." We explained our visits to Ridge Church, the eerie sensations we experienced, and our terrifying encounters. Mr. Thompson listened intently, his expression grave. "Ridge Church has a dark history," he began, his voice tinged with melancholy. "After the fire in 1839, many of our townspeople perished. Their spirits never found peace, especially those buried in unmarked graves around the church." He paused, taking a deep breath before continuing. "When the cult took over, they disturbed the natural order, performing rituals that only deepened the unrest. The bell tower in particular has been a source of constant turmoil. The spirits there are restless, unable to move on." Dave and I exchanged worried glances, the puzzle pieces slowly coming together. "I had to bolt the attic door that leads to the bell tower," Mr. Thompson revealed. "No matter what we tried, the door wouldn't stay closed. It would bang incessantly, especially at night when the energy was strongest." He leaned forward, his eyes locking onto ours with fear and determination. "Even after I took over, some things haven't changed. The pews still bear stains of blood, remnants of the tragic past. We've tried to remove them, but the stains remain, a testament to the bloodshed that once occurred here." The room fell silent, the gravity of his words sinking in. We couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility to honor the spirits trapped within Ridge Church and perhaps find a way to help them find peace. As we left Mr. Thompson's house, the night air felt heavier, the shadows around us seemingly more pronounced. The story of Ridge Church was more than just a tale of tragedy and cult activity. It was a narrative of lost souls yearning for release. In the following weeks, Dave and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, not just by the spirits of Ridge Church, but by the very essence of its haunted history. The blood-stained pews, the relentless banging of the bell tower door, and the malevolent presence we encountered all pointed to a restless spirit. Perhaps Eleanor, the painter whose life was cut short by the fire, or one of the many others who now roamed the grounds in eternal sorrow. Determined to uncover more, we returned to Ridge Church to document and perhaps bury the spirits. Armed with cameras, recording equipment, and a newfound respect for the supernatural, we ventured back into the heart of the haunted church. The second visit was unlike the first. The night was colder, and the air was thick with anticipation. As we approached the church, the once familiar facade seemed even more imposing under the cloak of darkness. The cemetery loomed behind us, and the gravestones were barely visible in the dim light of our flashlights. When we entered the church, we felt the oppressive energy that had always been present, but now felt more intense. The pews, stained with an unremovable brown residue, seemed to pulse with memories of the past. We went to the bell tower, the source of much of the church's unrest. Suddenly, something caught my eye. A shadowy figure perched atop a nearby tree. It stood at the tree's height, its form barely distinguishable against the night sky. Intrigued and terrified, I shone my flashlight directly on it. In an instant, the figure began to leap from one tree branch to another, its body morphing into a ball of mass with each bound. My heart raced as I watched the transformation, the entity defying the laws of nature with every movement. But what happened next would be forever etched into my mind. The mass began to crawl, face down the tree trunk at an alarming speed, making its way towards us with an unsettling purpose. "Dave, it's coming!" I shouted, my voice cracking with fear. We turned and sprinted toward the car, the entity inching closer with every step. My left leg felt glued to the ground, as if an invisible force was holding me in place and urging me to stay. Panic surged through me, but the sight of the humanoid being forced me to break free from its grip. As we reached the car, the entity accelerated, now towering at least 7 feet tall. Its presence was massive and menacing. I didn't know where my strength came from, perhaps divine intervention, but I found the courage to face it. The incense from the church had spilled over, almost starting a fire as we fled. Summoning every ounce of authority within me, I shouted at the creature, my voice echoing through the night. "You are not welcome here. This is not your home. Now leave. Don't come back." The entity responded by raising a clawed hand, its eyes glowing red with malevolence. "You cannot hurt me. You will not hurt my friends. You will not come near me or anyone behind me again." Suddenly, a searing pain shot down my arm as I was thrown back, the world spinning around me. Gasping for breath, I saw a little boy dressed in old-fashioned clothes standing beside me. "Where did he come from?" I muttered, still disoriented. The boy looked at the entity, yelling at it with a determination that belied his young appearance. To my astonishment, my words and voice came from him. "You are not welcome here. This is not your home. Now leave. Don't come back." I instinctively jumped up and ran back to him, desperate to stop the horrifying sight. "Dave, help me!" As I continued to yell through the boy, the shadowy figure faded, dissipating into the darkness with a final, anguished scream. But just as quickly as it had appeared, the little boy vanished, leaving me alone in the church once more. Observing from the doorway, the priest seemed utterly freaked and quickly left the scene. Dave approached, concern etched on his face. "What the hell was that?" I recounted the events, the fear still fresh in my mind. He looked at me, his expression a mix of disbelief and worry. "Have you always been able to see spirits?" I shook my head, still trying to process what had happened. No, I haven't. Not until that night. Ever since, except for that little boy, I haven't seen anything. Dave frowned, his expression softening. Maybe it's Daniel, the boy you mentioned in your dream. You said he wanted to protect you? I nodded, recalling the vivid dream. Daniel had reached out to me, promising always to be there. Yeah, he came to me one night in a dream and said he'd always protect me. I haven't seen him since, but now and then, out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of a little boy watching over me. I think, in a way, I protect him too. As we left Ridge Church that night, the oppressive energy seemed to lift, replaced by a sense of calm and connection. The spirits that had tormented the church for so long had found a semblance of peace, aided by our efforts to confront and acknowledge their presence. Mr. Thompson shared more about the church's haunted past and his measures to contain the restless spirits in the following days. He spoke of the bloodstains on the pews, a stubborn reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded years ago. We've tried everything to remove the stains, he explained, but they just won't budge. It's like the blood is still present, a testament to the lives lost and the pain that lingers. Dave and I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of responsibility towards Ridge Church and its spectral inhabitants. We knew that our encounters were just the tip of the iceberg and that the church held many more secrets waiting to be uncovered. Determined to honor the spirits trapped within Ridge Church, we continued our visits, documenting our experiences and working alongside Mr. Thompson to find ways to help the lost souls find peace. The journey was fraught with challenges, but the bond we formed with the supernatural entities gave us the strength to persevere. One night, as we stood in the church's main hall, the air thick with unresolved energy, we felt a presence unlike any we had encountered before. The spirits seemed restless, their whispers filling the room with echoes of the past. It was as if they were reaching out to us, seeking closure and release. "Daniel," I whispered, feeling his protective aura enveloping me. "We're here to help." The little boy appeared once more, his presence comforting and reassuring. "Thank you," he said softly, his voice like a gentle breeze. "You don't have to do this alone." Together, we delved deeper into the church's history, learning the stories of those who had perished and the dark rituals performed by the cult. Each revelation brought us closer to understanding Ridge Church's true nature and the spirits that haunted its grounds. Months passed, and our efforts began to bear fruit. The oppressive energy that had plagued Ridge Church for so long began dissipating, replaced by a sense of tranquility and peace. The bloodstains on the pews seemed to fade, and the once ominous bell tower stood as a silent guardian over the church's history. One final night, as we stood in the church's main hall, the air was calm and still. The spirits that had once tormented the church now lingered in peaceful repose, their restless energy finally at rest. "Daniel," I called out, feeling his presence beside me. He nodded, a serene smile gracing his young face. "It's time now. You can go." With a heavy heart, I bid farewell to the little boy who had become our guardian and friend. "Thank you for everything," I whispered. As we left Ridge Church for the last time, the morning sun began to rise, casting a golden glow over the once haunted building. The town of Lowndesville, South Carolina, seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. The shadows that had once concealed so many secrets now bathed in the light of a new day. Ridge Church stood tall and proud, its dark history now part of its enduring legacy. The spirits that had once wandered its halls found peace, their stories no longer lost to the annals of time. As Dave and I drove away, the memories of our encounters remained, a testament to the thin veil that separates the living from the dead, and the profound connections that can bridge the gap between the seen and the unseen. Thank you for joining us on this nocturnal journey into the unknown. If Cynthia's experience resonated with you, visit paranormalnightshift.com to secure your free copy of The Birth of Dimensional Desperado. Dive deeper into the adventures of Buck Shadow Sheriff Freeman and explore realms beyond your wildest imagination. Stay connected with us by subscribing to our podcast on Spotify and YouTube, where you can support the show, enjoy an ad-free experience, and gain exclusive access to future episodes of the Dimensional Desperado series. Your feedback and stories are the lifeblood of Paranormal Nightshift, so don't hesitate to share your encounters with the supernatural. Until next time, stay curious, keep your lights on, and remember, the night holds secrets just waiting to be uncovered.